Too Naked to Hide, a podcast by Nina J. Course. Chapter 5. Late Morning, The High Hills and the Lice. As he arrived at the office, Jacopo dismounted his bike, tied it to the bicycle rack, grabbed his briefcase, and searched for his keys, but didn't find them. He felt for them in his right pocket, then moved his briefcase to the other hand and searched in the left pocket. The sun pounded his yellow heat merciless on him. He moved to the shade and felt a short relief. He grunted to himself for not finding his keys, and the appointment with his father-in-law unsettled him. Who knew what he was after? "You left all your paper here." "I left a lot more." She was quick to answer. She was never troubled by losing her stuff. "They always turn up sooner or later." "If you hadn't left in a hurry like you always do, if you stopped kissing me a bit early, I wouldn't have to run off all rushed up." Nina, I ran them over to you. "See you at the usual cafe, say in 15 minutes? "Oh yes, boss." But he arrived earlier. He didn't get inside, but lingered by the door to see her come. She pedaled fast on the overpass, with the poise of a confident woman, with no fears, her legs circling around the bicycle wheels. The hem of her skirt lifted by the wind uncovered her round, smooth knees, veering past pedestrians occupying the bicycle track, standing on the pedals to pick up speed, often moving her lips to the sound of music, her iPod always in her ears, her cap on her head, large black glasses hiding her big dark eyes. She didn't look a day over 18, seen like that. "You look like a teenager," he said when she arrived, a bit out of breath, her upper lip glossed by a trace of sweet, and the last notes of a song still behind her, like a chanted trail. "That's right. I guess I'm still stuck there. I should actually come to terms with the fact that I am too much older," and she laughed, taking off her earphones, letting them drop desolately over her chest. "Who knows? With time I'll get used to age." Jacopo opened his arm to let her nestle by his chest, and they walked inside the bar, smiling as they walked in. He decided to buzz his office to get in. Nobody answered the speakerphone, but after a few seconds, right as he was turning from frustrated to flat-out angry, the door snapped open with a clang. He walked in, swallowed by the shade of the portico, and climbed up the stairs. The office was silent. As you go about your busy day, taken by your 1,000 things to do, I gently push your shoulders against the wall. I kiss your neck, your face, your forehead, and then I let you work. "How do you expect me to work after I got raped?" "Some rape. 2 innocent kisses on your neck, just enough to ease the stress. Should I slay down a bit?" "Oh no, with all those buttons, no!" The long corridor ended in the door to their partner's office. The invisible man, she called him, where the light was on. To the left was Giovanna's office. The door was open, as always, but she wasn't there. On her chair sat her purse, a new one, as he didn't recognize it. He put down his briefcase by the door and took a moment to catch his breath and take a look around. Giovanna's desk was covered by stacks of papers and thick folders. Amid the hills of paper peeked a computer screen, switched off. On the table, an elegant paper bag from a swanky shop in the town. One of her would be a sin to miss morning buys, no doubt. On the walls, an array of contemporary paintings, gifts of Giovanna's father. On the light green sofa under the window, a large gym bag, open. To the side, the small beauty case he had given her last year. Her white metal bookshelves were the only tidy spot in the room, so crowded with photographs of their children. Enrico on his first day of school. Enrico dressed in carnival costumes. Enrico holding little-day-old Mattia. Jacopo walked in the room, drawn by that photo. He took in his hand for a closer look. Enrico smiled, but hid his head slightly behind Mattia's dangling tiny head. And then again, photographs of Mattia, of Giovanna's father and mother, pictures of herself, photographs everywhere, but none of him. A few months ago, they were there too, a few of them at least, but now they had disappeared. Except for that one, the one with Jacopo and Mattia taken in Sardinia a year before. They were both tanned at the beach, the blue sea spreading across the background. Mattia looking straight into the camera, smiling happy, showing 2 missing teeth. He had his mouth opened in an uneasy half-smile, but held Mattia tightly by the hand, as if he were afraid the wind would take him away. Oh, it was a beautiful shot. I can't do this. I can't go on knowing I won't see your smile tonight. I can't go on knowing you won't be home for me, tracing the way. I can't go on living without my flame. Don't push me away. Don't be afraid. Let me accompany you in this journey. Nobody knows our destination. I only know with you I am complete. I am happy and understood. You are my light, Jacopo. Giovanna's phone went off, breaking the silence. A red speck vibrating, sending a muffled ring. Gliding over a pile of white paper, he glanced at the screen where a name flashed. Luisa Massages. He didn't recognize it. Giovanna swung open the bathroom door across the hall from her office. She strode resolutely into the room, spanned it with slight disquiet, then looked at her cell phone. She hesitated for an instant, a brief moment, a glance at the phone and a quick look at Jacopo, a look that rose no further than Jacopo's neck, stopping short of his eyes. Then she picked up the phone and answered. "Luisa, darling, how are you?" At the other end of the phone rang a clearly masculine voice. "No, I'm sorry, I can't right now. I've got to run off. It's okay if we talk later?" "Yes, perfect, dear, thank you. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye now, bye-bye. "Who was that?" asked Jacopo. "Oh, my esthetician." She shifted, closed her cell phone and slipped it inside her purse. He had enough time to observe her. Her regular features, large blue eyes encased behind light gold-framed glasses, the pastel tone of her complexion, her blonde, flawless short hairdo, her slender figure, and her faintly swaying gait. With the torso lightly leaned forward, everything in her was frail and delicate. Her shiny, silky smooth hair bore the evidence of a recent visit to the hairdressers. And she wore makeup, which was unusual for her in the morning. Her eyelids had the light shimmer of eyeshadow. She had lipstick on, and her cheeks were highlighted in a warm hue. She wore a skirt and shoes with heels. Usually, Fonte loved her to wear skirts. She never did. It was always pants and low rises for comfort, she said. She dressed with understated elegance. Her clothes were expensive and never ostentatious. In fact, she was quite old-fashioned in a way. No low cuts, no loud colors, nothing that couldn't be described as measured and proper. We recalled the many arguments they had about her clothing choices. And now that it was over, there she was, wearing skirts and high heels. Like this bag? I just got it at sale. In the summer I can always find cute things for cheap. Jacopo was lying on the sofa, observing her with his head propped over the armrest, while she, moving with ease and confidence in his house, threw the bag on the table, took off her iPod and rolled up the earphones, took out her glasses, moved her hands around the table. Then she'd rummage in her bag, pull out a hair clasp and gathered her hair up in a ruffled updo. One of her auburn strands would always fall out, rolling over her forehead or down the side of her face, curling up around. He adored those lazy, unruly strands. Then, as if taken by a sudden thought, she'd gather her things off the table, shove them randomly inside her bag, picking them up as they came: glasses, iPod, cap, necklace, bicycle keys, everything crammed in the large secret treasure chest of a woman's purse. She would then pick up her bag off the table and, after a brief consideration, hide it on a chair. She would then jam the chair under the table with satisfaction, turn to him with a radiant smile, and, talking without interruption, would literally throw herself onto him. And each time he would try to save at least some of the pages of his newspaper. He managed most of the times. "Oh, yes, it's nice. I like the way you dress. Not an easy fit. I'm always trying to figure out what goes with what. I'm constantly wearing the same things. But today I matched the tank top with this old sweater that must be, at least 10 years old. Is it too revealing?" As she talked, she had lowered her chin, trying to evaluate the extent of her neckline. She pulled her back shirt up a bit, raising her shoulders. Then she raised her eyes, looking at him with questioning eyes. "Yes, I'd say it's a bit too revealing, but it's a beautiful sight, and plus I'm the only one around. Thought I wish everybody could see how beautiful you are." She let out a coy laugh, took a long breath, and taking his hands into hers, looked deeply in his eyes with a smile. He still had her eyes fixed inside of him. "You're back early from the courthouse. You mind, Giovanna?" "No, don't be ridiculous." Giovanna had walked to the small sofa to take her makeup pouch and put it inside her bag. "And where are you going, all decked up?" "I'm not all decked up, and I have an appointment with Miriam, I told you, in Ponte di Brenta." "Ah, and you always get down over like a slut when you have an appointment with Miriam?" She turned sharply to him, pointing her eyes straight into his, without any hesitation. A steel knife jammed its blade between them. He recognized it. I believe you're in no position to act jealous. Who was that on phone? I told you, it was Luisa, my esthetician. She was lying. He saw his reflection in her back when he played her role and received embarrassing phone calls, and she asked straight questions, and he lied through his teeth. It was the same defense mechanisms, down to the smallest detail, except this time it was the other way around. He felt his blood rising to his head. Wasn't your esthetician called Eva? Your new best friend? The woman who knows when your man is a pig? The cherished confidant that knows every detail about me and how impossible it is to live with a sleazebag like me? Jacopo, you're better off if you stop now. You're pathetic. And you're trying to get everyone down the street to hear you? You're a liar, but I knew that. He turned on his heels and left the room, yanking his briefcase off the chair, letting it swing dangerously off his shoulder. In 2 long strides, he was inside his office, which was next door to Giovanna's one. Across the hall was Chiara's room. The windows in that room opened to an inner yard, a sad view and dark. The light was on, in spite of the bright day outside. He put his briefcase on a metal rack, walked to the window that opened to a small balcony, and pulled the blinds up with vigor. The blinds flew up, rattling, hitting the wall with a loud thud. He turned around and called, "Chiara!" She hurried in. She had walked 3 feet and was breathless. "Chiara, did you send that fax to Rossini?" She stood silent. "Chiara, the fax about the Rossini dossier, did you send it or not? It should have been done by yesterday." She patted her pants, which hugged around her flat hips. She smoothed the fabric and answered in a barely perceptible voice. Yeah, avocado, yeah, I sent it last night. I put the delivery receipt on your desk. It should be there on your desk, avocado. I even took the receipt and put it on the table, and I called it to avocado to confirm that it was received, even if it was late. It was 7 p.m. By then, and I called Rossini's secretary, and she told me she had received the fax, and her voice was becoming dangerously shrill. Jacopo walked around the desk, turned his computer on, leaning on the on button with all his weight until the screen moaned, then turned his revolving chair and fell heavily on it, looking at his desk. The fax to Rossini was there already, with its receipt. That meant that Rossini, at that precise moment, was licking his wounds. He must have already wired the money, had been waiting for those 6,000 euros for over 6 months. Hustle. He raised his eyes towards Chiara, who looked like she was about to spill over in anguish. "Yes, I saw that. Thank you, Chiara." She nodded faintly and retreated to her room. Maybe I shouldn't have answered the call. To look into you like into a mirror, drink from your fountain and dissolve me in your arms. But I found you, so similar to me, so attentive and curious, so strong and so frail. I stand in. Wait for my tears to come, locked up, buried, but ever present for you to collect them and treasure them for me and you. The tears will come, but they will be tears of joy, freedom, and release, understanding and passion, trust and love. Child me inside of you. Keep me like a hidden treasure, like precious knowledge, ours alone. The road has been taken. I cannot turn back. You can find me at www.toonaked.me. Translation from Italian by Iris Cartia. Original music by Massimo Moretti for Maxmoremusic. Post-production editing by Gina Lee. All mistakes are mine. If you want to see pictures of making of and life in Italy, please follow me, Nina J. Course, on Instagram and LinkedIn.